My name's Leonard Pocknett, Iron Tree. I'm a member of the Wampanoag Tribe, Mashpee Wampanoag Tribe, and have been since I was born a few years ago. And I had this idea about, when you meet people on the street, or don't even meet them, you pass them by, or you see someone someplace you go regularly, maybe church or whatever, and you wonder about them sometimes, who they are, and I wonder this, I wonder that. You never find out, or even if you know someone for a long time, you're surprised about what had happened to them, or what things they have been through. And I'm here this morning with such a person, the chief of the Wampanoag Tribe, Silent Drum. He's the chief of the tribe. He's 99 years old. And he had a ceremony they had and drove past the house here a few months ago. And that is what has really prodded me to do this, is that have someone from the tribe that has been here that long, and as fast as Mashpee has grown in the last 20 years. Even I can remember a lot of things when I go back more than that, 70 years or more. And to have someone that remembers things long before that, and someone from the tribe is my point. And to know him, but actually not really knowing a lot of things that have happened or he had done. And so that's why I got this idea, just to talk to him. I come here often anyway and talk to the chief, and I just wanted to do something to put it on now the cyber world, and that would more than just remembrance, but something that's documented on the cyber world. And I think it's really great that someone from the tribe, from the era, the things he's gone through, good things, bad things. So that's why I'm here this morning, to talk to the chief, Silent Drum, that I come here often and talk, but he is, I like to, just one thing is, I know your family is pretty big, your family. There's about, how many were there? Was six brothers and three sisters.
3 sisters, right.
Yeah, and you say that, well, I remember you telling me about in those days people had big families, you said.
Well, they really did, yeah.
And if around here in Mashpee, a lot of them, the families are pretty big, and I wonder about, like, when you were coming up as a young person, what did the elders do, like job-wise, and what did they do for employment around here? This is a very rural town, quiet, rural, mostly Wampanoag here.
Right, there was.
And
there wasn't too much activity as far as enjoying life, because every day was a work day, and you had to work real hard in order to survive. There was no gas stations or automobiles. Most of anybody that traveled at all went by horse wagon or one or two vehicles in the town. That's about all. The roads were all dirt roads. We just hunted and fished and just lived a natural native life. There was no recreational places to go. I can remember when all of these roads were nothing but gravel roads, and later on, of course, they started working on them, but this was real primitive country.
Yeah.
We had to go out every day and cut wood to cook meals on. There was no such thing as coal or oil or gasoline or in those days, in the early days. Later on, they started bringing in some coal and stuff. I can remember going way up to Sandwich. They had a train track that came in and went down as far as Hyannis, I think. And they used to burn coal. And when it came to Sandwich, they had a big pile of coal that they would stop the train there and refill up their what it was, like a trailer or something, so that they'd have plenty of coal for the train to run on.
Yeah, like a storage bin or something.
A lot of times we had a postmaster that came from Mashpee, had to go to Sandwich to pick up our mail or whatever. And a lot of times us kids would take a ride up there with him and would pick up some of those pieces of coal and bring them back and burn them. But wood was our main source of heat around here in those days. Plenty of wood. Yeah. And you always had to make sure that we had plenty of wood in the house so we could cook on the stove. There was no kerosene or gasoline, gas or anything in the old days, the early days, you know. So it was a real primitive living.
Yeah, and I remember someone telling me my grandmother used to take the mail. Up there in Sandwich, the way you're talking about the...
Miss Annie Willard Parker.
Yeah.
Right. I went 2 or 3 times with her. She had a bad leg, and she had this automobile that you had to get out in the morning, put a crank in it, crank it up before you could get it going. So whenever she could get somebody to go with her, because she had, like I say, a bad leg, she'd get one of the kids or somebody that was big enough to handle the mail and stuff and help her out. So we'd go, they'd pick up the mail here and take it to Sandwich to catch the train to wherever they wanted the mail to go. But those were tough, hard days. Everybody had to go out every day and cut wood for their stoves to cook on or heat the houses with or whatever. It was real primitive.
Yeah, because I remember...
We lived strictly off the land, more or less, till civilization, you might say, started to come in from Barnstable and Hyannis. Then they started to bring in stuff for the people here, because we never had anything but just what we made, our clothing or what you could find to eat, squirrels, rabbit, whatever you could find, birds. It was real bad.
And did it, like the schools, I've seen the one-room schoolhouse over here.
No schoolhouse?
But did they? You had to go to school, but where did you go? I mean, was it that one-room schoolhouse or?
They had the old schoolhouse. They had one big room downstairs and one big room upstairs. Downstairs on the first floor, they had 4 grades, 4 or 5 let me say, 6 grades.
6?
No, 4 grades. They went as far as the 4th grade. Then you had to go upstairs and finish the
Go to the 5th grade and up.
7th and 8th grade. And like I say, it was only like almost like a 2-room schoolhouse.
Yeah.
You had an outhouse up around in the back for the boys and the girls, you know. We had the principals, they came from all over to teach, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think we had 2 principals finally from Mashpee, Kenneth Coombs and Theodore Jonas. I think those are the only 2 principals that we had from the town. The rest of them were hired from outside to come in and teach the kids, you know. But
and the fire, did they have actually a fire department or a fire truck? Or what?
They had one little fire truck. It wasn't really too much of an engine, but it was enough to carry some water in case of a fire. But we didn't have too many fires because people were very careful of fires around because they knew there was no way that they could control them if they got away, you know. It was real primitive, I'm telling you. Yeah, so you walked everywhere. These roads were all dirt roads, and I can remember even when 130 was a dirt road go by your house.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and my mother sent me to the store from where we lived on Lovell's Lane, and I had to go from my house out to the road of 130, out where the museum is today.
Yeah.
And when I got there, the road was all gravel road. I was about 5 or 6 years old maybe.
Yeah.
We had to go to where Charlie Collins' store.
Yeah, I remember Charlie Collins.
Well, we cut across the field, and I came out there by the road, and these men were working on the road, and they were speaking in a foreign language, and I didn't understand them.
Yeah.
What they were doing was dirt road. Mashpee 130 was, and they were kicking out all the big rocks and raking it down kind of smooth it so the wagons or whatever went over could travel a little easier, you know. But they spoke a foreign language. I didn't know whether it was German or Italian or what it was.
Yeah.
But I ran like a son of a gun because I didn't understand what they were.
Yeah.
So when I left, I got out the store and I bought what my mother sent me for. Then instead of coming back around the road, I cut behind the store and came across the field and down, across the river where we lived, and up the back way to home. 'Cause I didn't want to go back and hear those people talking a foreign language on the road, you know. It was funny. I remember that now.
Wow.
God, I was only probably 7 or 8 years old, 8 or 9 years old at the most, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. And that's like 130 was there. I guess all of them. Like up here is the Mashpee Rotary. Now, was there a?
That was just a crossroads.
Just crossroads there, all dirt.
Where the circle is, where the Rotary is, there was one big pine tree set right in the road as you come up to it. The dirt road, of course, wagon road. And then the road split and they went in different ways. One went south Mashpee, one went up towards Falmouth Way and Cotuit.
Yeah, like it is now, but only all
but
dirt.
that's the Rotary. It was just and we used to call it Pine Tree Corners because there was one great big old pine tree that sat right there. So all the roads came in together and then they split. But that pine tree was like a
like the hub and
like where the circle is today.
Yeah,
a point of where the road split. You know, one went to Falmouth, one went to South Mashpee, and 151 is today, and then one Cotuit, and then one to Hyannis.
Yeah.
They all came together because it was all wagon roads, almost all of them, except the one that went to Falmouth. That was tied later on because they used to take us kids from Mashpee when we hit 8th grade, as far as our grades went here. Then you had to go to Falmouth to finish your education. And we had a school bus to take us up to Falmouth every day. So they had to keep the roads in pretty good shape so the school
Sure.
buses and travel would be okay, you know.
But you're saying it was very primitive here. I remember from my time, your mother would be out there to see nothing but the clothesline, and she'd be
Yeah.
hanging clothes. I imagine for, what, 6 to 9 kids, and these were hand washed.
Oh yeah, hand
There were no
wash.
washing machines or
Scrubbing
anything.
boards, yeah.
Yeah. The scrub, what do they call them? Scrub boards or something.
Scrubbing boards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we lived right now near the river too. The river was down below our house when we lived over on Lopez Lane there.
Yeah.
A lot of times my mother would take her clothes and go down to the river and sit there and stand in the water, right in the river.
Yeah.
Scrub our clothes right there and just let them rinse right out and wring them out. And then she'd bring them back up and dry them on the line, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that little section down there is like a little S or something in the river.
Yeah.
It used to be my favorite spot.
Is that right?
Fishing, I go down there.
There was good trout fishing in there.
Native trout in there.
Yeah.
Little brookies and stuff
Yeah.
down there. But right in that little,
And the ducks used to come in the spring. The wild ducks would come in the spring, and they'd sit in the water and lay their eggs right there. And we'd go down and get those
yeah.
eggs, bring them up and cook them.
oh yeah?
Yeah,
Whoa.
yeah.
Yikes. Yeah.
God, I remember hunting right in through here a lot. We did a lot of hunting.
Up in,
when I
yeah,
got old enough
yeah.
to hold a gun, you know. I never had a gun of my own, so I was looking at a catalog one day. My mother had Sears Roebuck or Montgomery Ward or something, and I spotted this little gun in there, and I asked my mother if I could have it. I think it's Montgomery Ward, I think, because if I remember right, I had to send out to Illinois or someplace out in the Middle West. We did a manufacturing place out the way you could buy them. And she said, you save your pennies and you can go get it. So I said, okay. So I saved up as much pennies, and I think it was about $7 and something for the gun. So I saved up as much money as I could, and I sent out there, and I got the gun. It was a little single shot, bolt action.
Yeah.
I got that gun in the house today.
You?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Boy, I used to come right in this place here, and this is like a great big briar patch. And I had this little beagle dog, and he would come over, and the minute I turned him loose, he'd start. He knew where we were going. I had a gun in my hand. The only way you get in there was if you had a little dog. So the minute I picked up my gun, that little dog would start
he'd know.
coming across the river down here, and he knew just where to go. Sure enough, all in here, there was always a rabbit in here.
Yeah.
And that little beagle would go in because there was briars, and he'd get under the briars. And he'd pick up that rabbit would go like a son of a gun right down here. Mr. Nate Peters lived down here. That rabbit would make a line right down and the dog right behind him. When I heard that dog coming back, I knew that rabbit was coming back here. So I just stand here.
Right back
sure
here.
Enough, he come in, I had my dinner. But this was all briars. You couldn't get in here. The dog was the only thing that could get in under the briars.
Yeah.
But it was nice. I always remember this spot.
Remember which one it is? One's mine and one's yours, but I
Oh yeah, bolt action.
can't. Sure.
Right there.
Yeah.
Wow.
I paid
$7.
$7.50. I think for this thing. It sent out for
$7.50.
$7.50.
No kidding.
The Montgomery Ward, I forget now. Bolt action. Pretty heavy.
Wow. Yeah. Looks like it just came out of the store.
Well, they got a lot of use, I'll tell you.
Wow.
But I kept it pretty good shape. $7 and something like 30 cents, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
It cost me to send for that. Up Montgomery Ward, I think, out in the Illinois or someplace out there.
Wow.
Yeah. I had a lot of fun with that. Shoot woodchucks, rabbit, partridge, a lot of partridge and quail around here in those days, you know.
Yeah.
It was good hunting around here. Rabbit, a lot of rabbits, deer. Oh, yeah.
I guess deer was a bonanza, though. You get a deer.
Oh, yeah. We used a heavy load in that, you know, like a ball.
Yeah.
Instead of the BBs, loaded up with a heavy ball, and one single ball, and put the powder behind it, you know. Give it the power to shoot a deer.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost like a rifle when you know, that way.
Wow.
Rather than a shotgun. Yeah.
Jeez. So everybody around here, the guys, the men, I was just, it's hard to think of no employment, like you know, now you go, if people go to a job, you know, they go to Hyannis or somewhere or wherever.
Oh, yeah.
And but here there was nothing.
Oh, there was nothing here. Nothing here. You lived practically off of the land.
Yeah, and the thing you could do would be to enough to get food, and that was on your own. I mean, you went out there. You didn't go to the store much.
Yeah, they did a lot of trapping too. You know.
Yeah.
Hunting and trapping.
So it was a constant, like you said, a constant work.
Work? Oh yeah.
No play much at all.
Didn't have much time for playing or resting. I'll tell you, everybody worked.
And was there any like ice skating, like the ponds and stuff?
Well, later on, you know, the kids. Later on, as things progressed, you know, civilization came into here more. Like,
so you could buy ice skates.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. God, I remember the old skates we used to have. You have to clamp them on, you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they had like little clamps that come in like this, and you had a little key that would tighten them up to tighten onto your shoes, and you could skate around on the ice with them. Later on, of course, they made the regular skates with the shoes on them, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't much need for police around here, was there?
No, very, very few police in the old days.
Yeah.
We had probably one or two. They called them constables.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but we didn't have too much trouble around here.
Yeah.
No. Of course, the town was small. I mean, I don't think the population was much over a couple of thousand people, if that many, in the old days, you know. All of these roads were all dirt roads, wagon trails, foot trails.
Yeah, you walked everywhere.
We walked everywhere. Oh, yeah. You know, only the rich people had automobiles,
Yeah.
Model A Fords or something. Miss Annie Willard, what's your grandmother?
Grandmother, yeah.
She used to go to Sandwich, take the mail from here, and she had a little old car. You had to get out in the morning and put the crank in it, crank it up, get the motor going. And she went from here to Sandwich to take the mail up and bring a mail back. And they had a small post office up here where the schoolhouse, where the town hall is now, with the small post office. Later on, they changed it 2 or 3 different places, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And to where it is now, but yeah. But yeah, she drove a little old Model T Ford. You had to get out in the morning and put a crank in the front and give it a curl. And
but there weren't much jobs, I guess, until really probably towards the Second World War.
Oh yeah, there's nothing here till after the war. No.
Yeah.
No.
Because
very poor.
I guess when the war started, when did Camp Edwards came into being up there? There was training up there.
God.
There was any kind of work there? Or?
Yeah, because there was my brother and 4 or 5 other kids. We got jobs working up in there when they started building Camp Edwards, and we got jobs washing dishes, and sweeping the floors, and making up the soldiers' beds, and all kind of stuff like that, just to make a few cents, you know. And then we had to walk from here all the way, which is about 3 miles up there and 3 miles back after work. So, but I did that, matter of fact, until I got drafted. When I turned 20, then I got my draft notice. And then I forget what time of the year it was. I think it was around October sometime when I got my notice, and as soon as I turned 20 or 21, and they sent me down to Mississippi.
How'd you go down there? By train or by train?
Matter of fact, there was 3 of us that got drafted at the same time. Elwood Mills and who was the other one? Joe Peters. Yeah, Joe and I landed down in Mississippi, but two different companies, but they were side by side.
Yeah.
I was in C company, he was in B company. So we got to see each other, but Elwood went into the Air Force, I think. So I never saw him anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we all got drafted about the same time.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they did the training there, and
actually, down in Mississippi, I was infantry.
Yeah.
And I was inducted into the infantry. And I took basic training down there. And then over in Camp Beauregard, Louisiana, they started a military police corps. And so they took so many men from the infantry and sent them over there to Camp Beauregard, Louisiana to form this new police corps. And me and a couple of other fellows were chosen to go over there and get inducted back into the police department over there. We had to take basic training all over again. Parachute training.
Oh, you took parachute? Oh,
we never jumped.
You never jumped?
We had to take it. They send you way up on a high platform, you know, and simulate jumping down, you know, with the parachute opening up and everything, but never set. So it was just mostly police department. So that's what I stayed in all the way through. But we went to from there we went up to Camp Pickett, Virginia, from Louisiana, and we took training on how to board landing a ship.
All those ships, the landing
and
ships.
Get off of them, you know, with the rope ladders.
Oh boy, yeah.
We was up in Virginia there when they sent us out on a boat out to this old, they called it the Yak. It was an old sailing boat out in the Chesapeake Bay. They stripped it right down except for the top deck. And they put these big rope ladders on the side of it. And we had to get out of our small boats, learn how to get out of our boats that we came in, and grab these, it's like a thick net ladders on the side. And we had to learn how to get out of the small boats and get up on the top of that big Yak. It was like a big sailing boat. They cleaned everything off at the top deck. And of course we didn't know what this was all about. But they were preparing, we found it later, preparing for the invasion, in case of invasion. You know? So anyway, they took us from out there to this thing, and pulled up beside this old stripped down boat, and it had rope ladders on the side all the way down to the water. When the waves went down like this, you get out of your boat and you grab this rope ladder and climb like a son of a gun up to the top deck of the ship. Because when that boat came back up, it'd take your legs off if you went up high enough, you know. So it was teaching us to land without getting hurt.
Wow.
So we practiced that up and down for quite a while. We stayed there till, it was in the winter time, I think. And then they sent us up to New York,
Boy.
the big port there where it goes out to England or something. We get on the ship and went to England, and we stayed there for 6 months, I think, before we made the invasion.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did training over there in England, and but in the meantime, they were bringing supplies in from the United States to England and unloading all kind of stuff. They were preparing for war, but they were keeping it hush hush, you know.
Yeah.
So they brought in food, clothing, ammunition, and they stockpiled it way out into the country, and they had it all camouflaged out there in the English fields out there. So the Germans coming over couldn't see what was happening, because Germans flew over every night, they'd circle and look. In England, they'd drop bombs and everything, you know. So we stayed over there till the invasion, and we made the invasion from England into the Normandy. Yeah.
So you got on those, that training that you had for boarding a bigger boat from the smaller boat or something?
Oh, yeah.
You had to do that
Yeah.
at the landing.
Yeah.
Now they get on those, what do they call those boats that went into the shore there? LSTs or something?
LSTs, yeah.
Was it?
LCIs and LST. LSTs are the small ones. We'll get on a bigger boat in the English Channel.
Yeah.
Then they took us out down to where we were going to make our landing, and we get off the big boats onto the little landing boat, so that to go into shore, you know. But boy, the Germans had that covered real good, so we had to jump overboard up to our necks and wade in more or less, and you know.
Put all your gear on and
They were
stuff.
gunning us down, but we were lucky. They didn't get too many of us, you know.
Wow.
And the big guns up on from the ships were firing at the Germans all the time to keep them going back away from the beach, you know. So that made it a little easier for us. But we lost a few men there just the same.
Wow. Now getting off of those, in order to land on the beach, did you said that sometimes you went over the sides rather than, because they had that thing that came down like that to go off, so you go off to the side.
Yeah, the landing craft.
Because they put it down.
Yeah, the landing craft.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get off the big boat, got in these landing crafts. It'd probably hold maybe 20 or 30 guys at the time, and the front of them would drop down like a ramp, because some of them carried trucks or jeeps or whatever, you know. So, but that's what we do. We get out off the big ship onto these landing craft, and when we got in as close as we could, because the Germans were all on the beach firing it all the time. So we got on these little landing craft. The front of them would drop down so you could get off of them. But the Germans, they knew that, so they'd be firing right at us. So we jumped over the side of the boat into the water up to our necks, you know. And then we made our way through as well as we could to the shore. Because those Germans had that covered. Hell, they had plenty of time to set up all kind of emplacements up there, you know, along. And where that beach was down here. The cliffs were way up here, you know, and the Germans had guns up there looking down. Oh, they had it made. But we had a lot of people went in there undercover and knocked out a lot of the guns and stuff before we made a landing, you know. It was awful. It's something you'll never forget, I'll tell you.
I guess not.
We lost a lot of men, but not as many as I thought we were going to lose.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Because I'll tell you what helped a lot too was the planes came in, and they would strafe
the beach
where the Germans were, and they knocked out a lot of the big guns and stuff. That saved us a lot of worry, help, you know. Yeah. They come in every night and strafe those beaches and keep the Germans under cover more or less. So that helped a lot.
Boy.
Yeah. 10 days after that, after the invasion, I had my 23rd birthday, I think. Yeah.
Wow.
My 23rd birthday. June the 16th. We landed on June the 6th.
Yeah, June 6th. Wow. Now, did you meet any of the like the English people? You know, the British, like the families or anything?
Yes, we did, because we billeted with a lot of the English people.
Oh, you did.
We put them right out of their houses so we could use their homes to house us, the soldiers and the officers and stuff, you know. So, yeah, we lived with them till the invasion, which must have been 4 or 5 months maybe before we made the invasion. We landed over here. Yeah, because we left here in January. The invasion was June the 6th, so it was 6 months.
Oh, so you're there.
So just had to move those people right out of their own homes.
Oh,
Took
boy.
right over. Yeah, but we treated them well, though. Our kitchen gave them a lot of food that they couldn't get, you know.
Yeah.
Because, you know, during the war, they were really poor over there. So we a lot of times when we went to lunch or something, we'd save a lot of our lunches and stuff and take them to the people where we were billeted with, or that we knew that we had to kick them out of their places. They had to go, a lot of them didn't have no places to go, but we helped them out as much as we could with supplies and whatever while we were there, you know. Yeah.
So when you got out, you got, what did you say? You were supposed to go home or whatever for a while or something?
We were supposed to get a furlough.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when I got home, they held me up in what's the big camp up in Boston, outside of Boston.
Drum or somewhere up there, Camp Drum or...
Huh?
Devens.
Yeah, Devon. They held me there because they said I had enough points to get out. I didn't know nothing about what points were, you know, because we were supposed to go home for furlough, for a 30-day furlough. Then they were going to send us down to fight the Japs.
Oh, in the Pacific.
There. Yeah. But when I got into Fort Devens, they told me, "You're all done." I said, "What do you mean I'm all done?" I said, "You're all done. You can go home now, you know."
Wow.
I had been. It was funny because my duffel bag and all of my other stuff we'd left on a ship because after our furlough we were going to Japan. So when we left Europe, we put all our stuff on a boat.
So it's in the Pacific somewhere right now.
Yeah, right. So all our personal stuff that you know in our duffel bags and stuff went on the ship to Tokyo or what the hell it was, so we didn't see a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
We just brought home what we were going to wear and for, I don't know, 30-day furlough or whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Go to report back, you know, to go to Japan or what the heck it was, it's still fighting. But when I got home, they said, "Oh, you're all done. You got enough points to get out." I didn't know nothing about points. You know?
Yeah.
But I said, I was happy.
I guess so.
But one of my duffel bags went that way with a lot of my stuff in it, and I had my personal bag that with my underwear and change of clothes and stuff, and I brought that home with me. That's all I had when I got home. So they just discharged me up in Fort Devens and said, "You're all done." So my mother was surprised to see me when I come walking home. Yeah. Okay.
Wow. So you came back here, and I guess the rest is history.
Yeah. Took a while to get used to things around here, you know.
I guess so.
Of course, the town it's grown an awful lot since those days, but it was still pretty primitive when I got back. Not much had changed.
But you ended up working at, what'd you say, the hatchery up here in Sandwich? The fish hatchery in Sandwich? Did you work up there?
Yeah, I worked over there at the fish hatchery. Well, I when I got out of the service, I got two, three jobs, different jobs here and there, you know, odd jobs.
Yeah.
And I finally got that job. I went to Brockton.
Yeah.
I went to Brockton. I had an aunt and uncle that lived in Brockton. So I stayed with them, and I went to worked in the factories up there in Brockton for, oh gosh.
Quite a while. Huh?
Yeah, 18, 20 years.
Wow.
And that's why I met my wife up there in Randolph, which is next town between Boston and Brockton, Randolph. So I met her and got married. We lived up there for a while and bought a house over in Holbrook, which is a town outside of this side of Boston. And we lived there for a while. And then my brother had bought a piece of land over there across the road. And there was 23 acres of it.
Mm-hmm.
So he called me up one day and he said, Vernon, he said, I just bought some land, he said, and there's 3.5 acres of land, he said, on the other side of the road. This is this dirt road out here. And he said, if you want a piece of land, he said, you can have it. I said, sure, I'll take it. So, he gave me this, I think it's 3.5 acres of land in here all the way now.
Yeah.
And he kept the other piece on that side. And so that's how I
Oh, you ended up here.
And we bought down here and built our house here. And we've been here 50 odd years, I guess. Yeah.
And here your daughter lives right up there on the hill.
Yeah, Marlene, she lived up on the hill up here. Take the path right up through there, around. The river runs down through here, goes all the way down to the salt water down to the bay, you know. It's nice around here. This is all dirt road. I remember when I came home and got a job, this is all dirt road, and the town highway department hired all us young guys to walk down the road and pick up all the big rocks and throw them to the side so the grader could come down with all dirt road, you know. So he could grade the road down. Yeah, horse and wagon road.
Oh, boy.
The only building on it was down the old meeting house down the end of the road. It was the only house on here years ago. Yeah, when I was a kid, I used to come over here and hunt rabbits. It was beautiful. Deer, a lot of deer, partridge, quail. Oh, it's beautiful.
So like up here at what they call the Rotary now was just woods. That was it, except for the little dirt roads.
Nothing.
Yeah. And
up to the Rotary, used to be one house up there, and there was a man named Alfred Phillips. And when we was going to school here, we'd go to as far as the 8th grade, then we had to go to Falmouth to finish the 4 years. And he lived right there where the Rotary is now. He had a house right there. And the road fork, one goes down to Papaneset, the other one goes to 28. And he had his house sitting right in there. And he had a little store, and he had a little one pump gas station. And just him and his wife lived there. And his name is Alfred Phillips. And he used to pick up the bus. He drove the bus from here, pick up the kids here, and he took them to Falmouth, to high school. And he'd stay up there all till 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon till we get out of school, and then he'd bring us back home.
Wow.
Alfred Phillips, his name was. So.
Boy, that is really something.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, thank God.
But that's the one reason I had said that it's been on my mind for a long time about getting someone that, when talking to you and stuff, and again, it's to get these memories.
Yeah.
It's like a living history, really.
Yeah.
Just on paper, so to speak, but it's cyber paper, I call it.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, the tapes and stuff on there. And I've been thinking of it a long time, and I said, well, let me just do it before it's too late. You know,
You know,
for me or anybody else.
Yeah. You know, Amelia Bingham and I are about the same age. I think there's probably about a couple of months difference between her and me. And yeah, and she's the last living woman my age.
Yeah.
I guess we're about the last two people of
Wow.
any age in it, left out of the tribe. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't seen Amelia for a long time.
I haven't seen her in
so
a
I don't
long
know what
time. No.
condition she's in. You know.
Yeah.
If she's in any condition, she'd probably be one to interview too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy.
Yeah, but she'd
But
have
it's good to get.
She'd have some memories, you know.
Yeah, I imagine so. Yeah. Well, it's been. I'm getting really relaxed here, so I think.
Yeah. Well, I've been running my mouth along that.
Yeah. Well, no, that's great. That's really great. And
But, you know,
so.
some things, you know, one thing follows another. You know, you think of one thing and then something else pops into your mind.
Tumbles in.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's been.
One thing that I always remember. I always. It didn't disturb me, but I couldn't understand how a person couldn't think of it. In the wintertime around here, of course, we had some awful snow.
Yeah.
We lived over on the lane over there. And my Uncle George, he had a horse and a wagon and stuff, you know, and he'd do plowing in the spring and everything. And he also had this snow plow. And it's just a couple of years ago that I got to thinking about that, and I said, that don't make any sense. He had a snow plow and he had a horse. Now the horse had to be in front of the snow plow.
Yeah.
Like this, pulling the snow plow.
Yeah.
That didn't make much sense. And then you get drift like this, and the horse has to fight his way through. And at the same time, you get this damn plow behind him and trying to pull it to open up the road. Can you imagine that? I can't say that poor horse.
But this has been a great morning.
Well, we've been
Morning, it's not
brains
the
out.
afternoon yet.
So,
We stay a couple, 4 or 5 more hours.
oh, good.
But
Always something to remember.
yeah,
Yeah.
So
One-
I'm glad
One little thing I always remembered, I'll never forget it to this day. I lived over on the lane over here. I was walking down the road one day, a dirt road,
Yeah.
went past the house. And this robin flew by,
Yeah.
come right over here. I saw him coming. I was probably 8 or 9, 10 years old. I saw this robin coming across like this. And this dirt road, I picked up a stone and threw it up. Just unlucky or lucky, I hit that robin.
Okay.
I hit him right here. And he came right down and he landed at my feet and he was dead.
No kidding.
And I started to cry. I was on the lane over there, just left to my mother's house down on the dirt road over there. You know, it hit me so hard that I just didn't mean to hit him. I just threw it at him, you know. He just flying and caught that. He come right down, and so I buried him right there, right on the side of the road. But I never forgot that. No.
Oh boy.
Now, that was only probably maybe 9 or 10 years old.
Yeah. Stuck with you all that time.
Yeah.
Well, all of these things today I'm glad they stuck, so we could at least come out with them and have a good day with them. And I'm so glad here today to be at your house and your yard and your home and
Well, it's always
talk about these things.
You always be welcome.
Hey, you know, so it's Silent Drum, the chief of the Mashpee Wampanoag. And as I say, I'm Iron Tree, Leonard Parknett. I'm glad this came about today. It's been on my mind a long time. And I thank you
Yeah.
again, really.
Not many of us left.
And Marlene too.
Yeah. Yeah.